kind of shuffling. Now it's time to start. So I request the dignitaries to come to the dais. Professor Balasubramaniam, Jill Prasad, Joseph Guruska, Anil Kumar, Jaiwan Kim, Hiroshi Mai, Andreas Winter. And Charlie Bennett. So, to begin the program, I will request our director, Professor R. Balasubramaniam, who is the source and strength of this entire program and making it possible to welcome the delegates and declare the conference open.
Dear friends, let me welcome you all for this 13th AQAS conference. And I would assume that for most of you, this would be probably the first visit to the Institute, and probably even for some of you, this will be the first visit to India. Therefore, I should say something about this Institute and how this Institute is better placed to run this conference, etc. This Institute, as most of you might have seen from the web pages, is an institute which is funded by the Department of Atomic Energy. The founder of this atomic energy program in India, Homi Bhabha, even initially felt that a certain subject, particularly the nuclear science, cannot grow when the general scientific tempers does not grow, which essentially meant that he felt that it is the duty of the department to develop all basic sciences. And this is the mandate of Homi Bhabha, which is still being continued by the department. And this department has been very generous in developing all the basic sciences, even basic sciences which might not be directly related to the nuclear program. And that's one of the reasons why they are even supporting mathematics. I think mathematics is probably one thing which will be far removed from that. Anyway, this particular institute started as an institute of the state government in 1962 by Alladi Ramakrishnan, and we celebrated the 50th year of this institute around 6 months back. This institute was taken over essentially by the department somewhere in the early 1980s. From the inception, this institute has been concentrating on the research in mathematics, theoretical physics, and computer science. And for example, we do not have any laboratories, and all our researchers are essentially theoretical. And at the time of the Golden Jubilee, 50th year, which we are celebrating around 6 months back, one of the reporters, press reporters asked me what I would consider unique to this institute. And I said there are two things which I would definitely consider unique to this institute. One is an outreach program, the idea of running conferences, going to the colleges and getting visiting students from the colleges and extending their knowledge. This is one of the things which I am proud to say we are doing probably in a scale higher than what one would expect for an institute of this size. And the second one is that the interaction between the three groups, even though these subjects do exist in the other institutes, the amount of interaction which is happening between a mathematician and a physics and a mathematician and a computer science and a physics or a computer science is somewhat stronger in this institute than the other institutes, at least in India, which I have visited. And I said that this will be definitely one of the very strong points of this institute. This essentially enables us to develop interdisciplinary areas which would need two or all the three subjects, and the quantum information fits the bill very well. Therefore, if I am allowed to be slightly immodest, I would even say that this is one place which is the best suited to develop this area. But then, in order to really develop these areas, just the environment alone, the ambience alone is not sufficient. You need a great leader to take it along those lines. And again, fortunately, we have Professor Simon here, who is one of the acclaimed leaders in this subject, and that has enabled this institute to make a mark in this subject. And when we decided to have this program, it was not even clear, because this is the first time that it is coming to India, how successful this program would be. But when we look at the response from the community, and in terms of submissions, in terms of acceptance, and so on and so forth, which are actually far beyond our expectations, it seems that we have done a good job of the first step of making this program a success. And now, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and we have to see what we do in this next 1 week to make it as a great success. And again, this is one of an upcoming subject, an important subject for the future, and we cannot just be sitting on having done one such a conference and stopping there, particularly because this institute also takes pride, as I was telling you earlier, of spreading the knowledge. This essentially means we are actually contemplating on a regular basis some carefully structured schools in this emerging interdisciplinary area. And again, I don't know about the Indian situations. You know, what we normally have is something like a plan expenses and non-plan expenses, which essentially means that at the beginning of every 5 years, one writes a program of what one, see, these non-planned expenditures would come as a regular expenditures in terms of the salaries and the maintenance and so on and so forth, for the plan for any new activities that we are starting. And we had to write the plans around a couple of years back. At that time itself, Professor Simon decided that this is one program which we are going to have, and therefore in this project, in the plan project, we wrote that we plan to run such an annual conferences, and I am happy to say that the department has agreed with that, and for some money for running such annual programs have been already sanctioned. Therefore, financially we are in a better positions, and therefore now this response for this AQIS has further strengthened our conviction in respect of the usefulness of these activities, and we plan to have it actually preferably even from the next year onwards, probably next January itself. And therefore we propose to run annual IMSC schools on quantum information science, initially for a period of 5-year circle, because you see, again, as I was telling, the plan period is for 5 years, and we project what you plan to do for 5 years, and only depending upon the success, then it can be put in the next plans and so on and so forth. These schools are envisaged to be international in character, in the sense that some lecturers as well as some participants would be non-Indians. And we are glad to report that Professor Winter, one of the leaders of the field, as well as a long-time friend of this institute, has agreed to play a mentorial role for these schools. And if whatever we are planning goes through, then probably the first school would be there between January 19th and 31st, 2014. With this, let me welcome you once again. And in case there is a certain inadequacies which you find, or certain difficulties which you have, etc., always feel free to approach Professor Simon or me, and whatever we can do to make your visit here pleasant as much as possible. With these few words, let me welcome you once more again, and thank you.
It has become a tradition, Professor Balasubramanian has been following, that we honor our invitees with a bunch of flowers and a shawl. So now I request Professor Balasubramanian to do that honor before I invite Jill Prasad. The first person, in my opinion, who should be honored is Jill Prasad. If this is an orchestra, then he is not only the conductor, but more importantly, he is the composer. Later on, I will have an occasion to remark about my impression of the way he has been after me and after us. But now let me request Professor Balasubramanian to honor Jill Prasad with a shawl and a bouquet. And Joseph Gruska is the chair of the steering committee, the man who owns the AQIS brand. And so it's our privilege to honor Joseph with a shawl and bouquet. Charlie Bennett is the most recognized face in this field, the father figure of the entire field, and we are so honored to have him here.
Honored to be here.
Professor Anil Kumar from Bangalore is the conference co-chair, and it's our honor to have him here. Andreas Winter is a long-time friend of not only many people from the institute, but the institute itself. He is the program chair of the next edition of AQIS, and he has kindly agreed to be the mentor of the 5-year cycle of schools that will be conducted from next January onwards. So it's we're particularly pleased that he is here. And Jaewan Kim and Hiroshi Imai are members of this steering committee, the brain tank of this entire AQIS sequence of conferences. So it's really our honor to have them here. So now may I invite Jill Prasad to make his remarks.
My experience, the chances are very slim. Okay. All right, so I'll give a brief program chair report. Yeah. Oh. First of all, let me welcome you all to the 13th AQIS conference. I remind you that this is in a series of conferences that have taken place that was started by Professor Imai in Japan, in his Erato research group, and then has moved on to China, back to Japan, Korea, and is coming for the first time to India. And I was asked to be program chair in particular because everybody knows that India is my favorite country, and that's where BB-84 was given for the first time in Bangalore. And in fact, I was back in Bangalore earlier this year, and I'm proudly wearing the T-shirt of the conference in Bangalore where I was in January. This year we had a somewhat large program committee. Essentially because I asked lots of people, expecting lots of people saying no, but everybody said yes. But it worked out very well. And in particular, I'm grateful to all of them, of course, but also to my two program co-chairs, Simon here and Richard Cleve, who unfortunately could not attend. And Cleve was essential at a moment when I was away for a week. So I want to thank him especially because he knew he couldn't come, but yet he spent a lot of time helping put up this program together. And Andreas is in blue here because he's going to be program chair next year. He's also the person who got the most papers accepted at this conference as contributed talks. I think he got 5, and there was no cheating there, of course. We had submissions from we had a total of 122 submissions from lots of places. So this goes to show the extent to which AQIS is, despite the A for Asian, it is an international conference that takes place in Asia. The numbers in parentheses, you might wonder how there could be 123 papers submitted from India. Well, this number, in fact, these numbers is number of authors who submitted a paper from that country. And if the same author submitted more than one paper, he's counted as many times. So there were 123 authors submitting from India with possible duplications. And there were 33 poster-only submissions among those. Therefore, there were, in fact, not 122, but 89. There were 89 submissions for contributed talks. And we got papers accepted from all these places for 44 contributed talks. And if you can compute quickly, you can see that it's less than 50% acceptance rate, barely. And we also had 69 posters accepted. So that's the program that we put together as program committee. In addition, 4 tutorials, 8 invited talks. Sorry. But in fact, it turns out that, sorry about that. So that was a program that was put up together, but unfortunately some of the authors of accepted papers for various reasons were unable to make the trip and had to withdraw at somewhat of the last minute. So we lost papers from these places, unfortunately. I'm pretty sad for that China, but at least we have Hong Kong. So China is still represented. So we went from 44 to 41 talks. We lost 3 talks, we lost 7 posters, but we still have a pretty full program. More unfortunately, we lost 2 invited speakers who just could not make the trip for various reasons. So the current program is given by these numbers. There's also a special session of public and media this afternoon. I'm showing you this program. This is a program that you got on the sheet that was given to you, not in the big book. So the program that you find in the book is out of date. This program was made before we had all these cancellations. So the program that you should consider and bring with you is this one. And to be sure that you have the right program, the program that has a long parallel session with 5 plus 5 talks is the right one. All other programs don't have this. Also, please notice that the session will start at 9:30 tomorrow, not 9. It's 9 in the book. It's really 9:30 with a Tuesday invited talk by Gershon Gaval. Notice also that we start at 9:30 on Thursday. That was my request to take account of the very long excursion day on Wednesday, so that we can get a bit just a bit later on Thursday. All right. Enjoy. Thank you.
Now I would like to request Joseph Gruska to make some remarks as the chairman of the steering committee.
Mr. Director, ladies and gentlemen, on the behalf of the steering committee, first of all, I would like to welcome you at this conference, and also on behalf of the steering committee, I would like to thank, first of all, to the director of the institute, whose letter 2 years ago made very significant impact on our decision to go for the first time to India. I would like to thank the Professor Simon and all people around him for putting a lot of effort to organize this conference. I would like very much to thank the program committee chair, and I would like to say a few words about that. Program committee chair for this type of conference has to work really hard, and all program committee members. Not everybody is familiar with the system, so every submission is refereed by the 3 people. All program committee members can see all referee reports, so program committee members have to be very careful what they write. Except if somebody is co-author of the paper, he cannot see the referee report for his paper. So program committee chair is the only one who sees everything. Yeah. So to have the paper accepted for this conference is a big honor. Yeah. And currently it was 50%. It means if the paper is accepted, it's very good. If it is not accepted, it does not mean that it's not very good. Yeah. And I would also say the second feature of this conference, we try to make balance between physics approach, mathematics approach, and computer science or informatics approach to the field. And actually, AQIS is the only conference worldwide which is regular every year and take such a high standard for selection of the papers. I would also like to point out that one very special feature of this year's conference is that we have also 3 satellite workshops, because the modern conferences has usually 3 parts of the program. First there are tutorials, then the main conference, and the satellite workshop, which can concentrate on particular subject. So for the first time we have 3 satellite workshops, and so I am very happy that things work the way they do, and thanks to all of you and to all of the members of the organizing committee and program committee. Okay.
Next, I request Charlie Bennett to make some remarks.
Well, I'm very glad to be in this place and to see this exciting amount of research that's already, I've begun to hear about it yesterday. But I'm going to follow on the remarks of the director about the collaboration amongst the mathematics and informatics and physics, because sometimes it is decried that the fields have difficulty talking to each other, people from the fields. But I think that the field of our own field of quantum information is rather enriched by the different intuitions that people form in graduate school when they study these separate areas. And it leads to continuing discussions, earnest discussions about what's the right way to ask a problem, or what is a natural, well, as Andreas Winter would say, maybe you can't prove something, but it's morally right, it must be this way. And very often, not only in this group here, which I think is one of the places where these get together, but whenever I see people from these different, I would say not different disciplines, but different educational backgrounds during their formative years, when in my case the formative years were a long time ago, when they got ideas into their heads that would be very difficult to get rid of later, that the opportunity to argue about it with somebody who thinks completely differently is very much enriching to this field, which is now, I would say, a mature field. Many, as Gilles Brassard pointed out, it really came to light around in the mid-'80s. How long ago was that? That's 30 years ago almost. Yeah. And yet it's, in addition to being mature, it's very much on the forefront, because as I heard Professor John Preskill from Caltech recently, just to give a popular lecture, in which he pointed out that the basic ideas of quantum information science, the no cloning principle, is at the heart of a controversy in cosmology, in black hole physics, that is only about a year old, and it's what everybody's talking about, and even makes it into the popular press. So I think this is a very exciting time and a very exciting place.
Since we are behind schedule, I will pass by 3 of our dignitaries and request Andreas to make some remarks.
Well, okay, I try to be brief, seeing that we're already a bit behind. So first of all, I'd like to share the thoughts of all the previous speakers. I mean, it's already yesterday I enjoyed myself. I'm confident that it will be a very beautiful conference, thanks to the efforts of Simon and Gilles and all the other organizers. I'm indeed happy to be back here after, I don't know which time, it's the 3rd or 4th time that I'm here at IMSC. 2007. 17. What do you say? 4 years. 7, yeah, 17 is in the future. Okay. Well, it seems to me that Charlie somehow set the theme for what I'm supposed to say. So you heard from the director, Professor Balasubramanian, already that I agreed to cooperate in the formation of a school that will start next January. So we have the dates, but that's pretty much all we have. So at the moment, together with Simon, we're discussing the format of the school. We are thinking of something like 4 speakers, 4 lecturers. The topic is not precisely defined yet either, so I won't comment on it. So please stay tuned. The most important thing is the participation in the school will be by application. So basically, you will have to, or your students, whoever wants to learn about the subject that we will cover, will just have to approach IMSC or us. And yeah, that's it, I think. Or did I forget something? So have fun at the conference, I think. Have fun at AQIS. And don't forget to submit something also next year when I will not have 5 papers, but I will have to review all of yours.
Even though we are behind schedule, I need to make some remarks about my impression of being part of the organization. First of all, I want you to recognize that every time the name Simon was mentioned, it stands for the people who are locally involved in organizing it, in particular the organizing committee chaired by Sibashi and with the secretarial help from Prabha Mandayam. Now, personally, I feel without Prabha, we could not have done it. I mean, for various reasons, Sibashi had to be out of town, but she single-handedly manned the whole show. So I think all these things, whenever Simon's name is mentioned, I think almost all the credit should go to the entire organizing committee, in particular to Prabha and Sibashis.
And I second this.
The second thing about my role in being the PC chair, it doesn't, I mean, he did not even list me as a co-chair, PC chair, one of the 3 PC chair. I should make a remark on it. This is a job which has only honor and no responsibility. Jill did everything. Nearly everything. Is that okay? Now, I mean, you just want, I think, to see how hard he worked as a PC chair, this way, you should be an honorary co-chair. There is no other way. I cannot really, several occasions I send him mail at 3 o'clock his local time, thinking that hope when you get up in the morning you will send a response. Prabha will endorse it, and within 5 minutes there will be a response. It's not just 1 or 2 times, it's almost virtually every time. And sometimes he is meticulously careful to the level of frustrating me. And so I don't want to go beyond that. And the second impression I want to give you is how easy or difficult it is to arrange this kind of a meeting in this institute. It's much easier than what you think. And the reason is this institute has a very special character. In 2 years back when I went to Korea, I asked Professor Balasubramanian, no, we should host this meeting and you should give a letter of support. He asked how much support should I give? Well, I said 30 lakhs. You think enough or 35 lakhs? You know, this kind of a thing you are not going to get. So he immediately gave a letter for 30 lakhs. And when we talked about inviting speakers, I asked him if there is a Nobel laureate, can we give business class? No, why do you walk into a straight jacket like that? Whomever you are convinced, you offer business class. And today I want to report to him that we have offered zero number of business classes. So I think in my opinion, the distinct feature of this institute is that the administration considers itself as a enabling body and as a controlling body. I do not know about other culture. In Indian culture particularly, this is a significant difference. The director, whenever you ask something, he says, go ahead. And our administration headed by the non-academic administration headed by Vishnu Prasad, if you go and ask something, in other places the registrar will tell you why it cannot be done, the rules under which it cannot be done. But Vishnu Prasad will always find the ways by which these things can be circumvented and still it can be done. I think in Tamil there is this thing that if you put dots, before you put dots, you would already produce the curves. So, and since the academic and the non-academic administration is headed by these two people who really consider themselves as enabling bodies rather than controlling bodies, it's pretty easy to organize this kind of, much easier than organizing it here. And we have a very cogent set of colleagues and students, and just you have to indicate to them, I mean, if you ask them to walk 1 mile, they will walk 10 miles. So it's very easy to organize things here, and actually I wanted to say many things, but due to paucity of time, we are getting late. But I should make one mention. Our library is probably among the best libraries you can find anywhere. Not only now, even it was, when I joined this institute, nobody was doing optics, but still it had everything in optics. And our librarian is a great asset for us. These proceedings has been, it has been printed in such a great quality, it's entirely due to his effort. So I don't have time to list all the people in the administration. When I say Vishnu Prasad, it trickles down all the way to all the wings, and the catering facilities are taken care of by a team headed by Sundaralingam. So it has been a painless pleasure of only honor and virtually no responsibility for me to organize it. Still, if there are some failures, I take full responsibility, but you bring it to our notice, either me or Prabha or Subhashis, we will try to rectify. We believe with Balu's support, our director's support, we believe nothing is impossible. So, thank you very much. So, there is a vote of thanks by Subhashis Ghosh, but I think since we are behind schedule, I think we should pass by and reserve it for the concluding session. So now we will move on to, we will close this inaugural session and move on to the first invited talk.